BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Mondays. My name is Ira Bowman, and I am excited you're here. Hello, Rono. You have a question for us, so I'm going to leave this up for a second. And you're watching from Uganda. Thank you so much for joining the show. For those of you who have never seen this before, Marketing Mondays is an interesting show because you can get a lot of, if not most of, your marketing questions answered for free. You don't have to pay for it, and that can be a big help when you're a small business owner or you're an entrepreneur just trying to, figure out how to get started. So let me help you. The first thing, Arono, and I apologize for not saying that right, but I believe that's how you say it. How do I know which strategy works for my business? Well, I need to know a lot about your business to answer that, but let me just talk about some basics, because the basics, a lot of people try to make this super complicated, and it doesn't have to be. Marketing is what? Marketing is trying to figure out who it is that you're reaching first. So the first thing I would ask you, what type of business you're in and who does your business look or hope to service, right? So if you're making a product, who you want to buy your product. If you're a service-based business like I am, a marketing firm, Bowman Digital Media, who is our target audience? Well, for us, our target audience is small business owners in the service-based industry. So like accountants and lawyers and authors and so forth, all kinds of service-based businesses out there. So that's who we're trying to reach. One of the reasons why I do this show, Marketing Mondays, is because it allows me gives me an opportunity to speak directly to them on platforms. So we go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, where they are. Now, what marketing strategy will work best for you? Again, a lot of people miss this. This is the very first step. Who is it that you're trying to reach? Because who you're trying to reach will help us determine what method we would use to reach them, okay? For example, here's a good one. If you're trying to reach people in a demographic, let's say they're in their 50s and 60s, they're not likely on social media, okay? So you might not want to spend all your money and all your effort on social media because those folks, by and large part, are not here. How do you reach them? Well, pick up the phone calls, emails to a certain extent, although not so much, right? Direct mail, a huge thing. Print media advertising buys, print buys are good ones. But sending them things, word of mouth referrals. So your marketing campaign can have all kinds of, radio spots. I know a lot of people don't think about radio and traditional media, but it's still a viable option for those in that 50s, 60s, and plus, and up category. So you just have to kind of consider who you're trying to reach out to. But there's in demographics, there's all kinds, right? So, maybe you're talking first and foremost, are you talking to business or business to consumer? So your model's kind of split right there. Age range, income levels, education levels, sex, male versus female. I know a lot of people want to stay away from that because it can be a whole diatribe of things can happen, but it does make a difference. Gender still matters when it comes to marketing, right? So identify your target audience. Come up with, I hate to use expensive words because I just want to keep it really simple. So identify your target audience. What does your audience look like? What if you don't know? Because what I've said is actually it can be complicated to figure all that stuff out, right? The demographics. So what if you don't know? Well, if you've been in business for any amount of time, I want to teach you a simple way, and hopefully this is helping you, Rona. Okay. So I want to teach you guys a simple way to kind of identify your audience just right out of the bat. Okay. If you have been doing business for any amount of time, what I want you to do is I want you to do a quick survey of your existing customers. Because if you can identify the pattern in your existing customers, it'll give you a big clue as to who to chase moving forward and how to chase them. So the first thing I want you to do is look for, okay, well, what types of businesses are they? Where are they? What industries do they serve? What do they do? Right? Can you notice okay, well, they're all, this isn't a race thing or a gender thing, but try to figure that out a little bit. They're all white, they're all black, they're all Mexican, they're all rich, they're all poor, they're all, blue collar, they're all white collar, or the majority of them, because you probably aren't going to have all of anything, but it's like 80% of your business groups, your customers belong in a category, then that's safe to say, okay, those are the people, that's the niche that I naturally fit with, right? And then you want to chase those. So once you identify those things, especially if you can get two or three of them, like you say, okay, they're service-based, like for Bowman Digital Media, we're service-based businesses. We're not chasing e-commerce, okay? People aren't building things. Our clients typically are out there, serving clients. They're not producing a product and selling it via e-commerce. What they're doing is they're, advertising a service, hoping to find customers who will pay for the service, and then they provide that service, right? So that's one of our niches. Small business owners is a group, right? There are enterprise businesses. Those are the biggest businesses in the world. Coca-Cola, Google. I mean, enterprise businesses are the ones you think that are conglomerates. They have a global headquarters. They have regional offices. They have usually a very large number of employees who work for them. Then you have mid-sized businesses, which can get a little confusing because a lot of times people with these mid-sized businesses are like $500 million in annual revenue. They could be $1 billion in annual revenue. And some people would say that they're enterprise businesses, but they're not, but they're considered a mid-sized business. So that's huge, right? Billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, mid-sized. So anyways, there's categories all the way down to people who just started their business. Like they have no money in the bank. When I started Bowman Digital Media, I started it basically with a budget of $12,000. Okay. So certainly not a huge buy-in, certainly wouldn't be considered a small business, medium business, on enterprise business, none of that stuff. Like I was just like bootstrapping. That's the word that I used, bootstrapping, because I didn't have much margin of error. And I didn't have certainly a lot of money to invest. Now I've been blessed and the company has grown. and we've done a lot of business, which has helped. So the business didn't stay where it started, which is nice. But when I was doing my initial rollout, I knew from being in sales for 20 plus years who I related to the most. And so I said, you know what? I relate to them. I know what I offer at Bowman Digital Media can work for them. So I reached out to them. How did I reach out to them? Let's get to the practical nuts and bolts. How did I reach out to them? The first thing that I did was I sent direct messages to the few of the people that were on LinkedIn with me, right? I build relationships. And I think a lot of you forget the power that comes from the personal relationship. So I reached out to them. I let them know, hey, I'm now in business. If you want to hire me for this, great. If not, maybe you know some folks who could use the services that I'm offering now. And most of my business that first year was from referrals. So I created and established the relationships on social media. I was doing what's called social selling, which I'll get into in a minute. But most of the business was coming back word of mouth. And that word of mouth could be from phone calls, from video meetings, like Zoom and so forth, right? And then it wasn't about, and I still have yet to do this in mass. I haven't done any mass cold calling. I haven't done any mass email campaigns. A lot of you are using automation, which I'm not a fan of at all, and I can talk about why I don't like automation for many reasons. If you guys are interested in that, but anyways, that's what I did. Why? Because I knew who my audience was. Now, for my audience, the things that I'm doing is working pretty well, but for your audience, it might not. You have to identify your audience. So the first tip in marketing is if you're going to market your business successfully, if you're going to get more from it, make sure you're not forgetting to consider who your audience is, because if you are, that is a huge mistake. You could be doing all the right things, but doing it to the wrong people and getting bad results for it. Now, if you have a marketing question, all of this, what I've just said, is in response to Arona's question. How do I know which strategy works for my business? You have to know what business you're in. You have to know who you're talking to. Now, once you have those things settled, the answer becomes much more clear. So, Arona, if you want to tell me who your target demographic is, we can start talking about even more specific answers. And if you're watching and you have a question, you want to ask it, by all means, go ahead and ask it. I do have one of my clients. I'm going to put this up because they did a post today that is interesting, and I want to talk about it. So this is Solely Consulting. Solely Consulting, they are they design custom software solutions. Okay, so they're a software development firm. They're asking a question here, and the question is, does your business software communicate with your app and website? Let me just open up this whole thing. Many businesses are doing business with one arm tied behind their back. Why? They're working with silo software systems, and we'll talk about what that is, and they're not integrated. Solely Consulting can fix that. Okay, talk to Andrew or Nima. They both work for Solely, and visit their website. Link in the comments to learn how. So check that out. Okay, what is this saying? If you are if your business is a little bit more mature than mine, okay, my business is still a year and a half old, 18 months old, right? So we've got a lot of growth yet to come, and the software we use and how they all integrate, it's still kind of being developed. But for those of you, let's say you have a 5-year-old company or 10-year-old company or 10 years plus, right? And your CRM isn't connected to maybe you don't have an ERP. Maybe you don't even have an ERP. And if you need ERP help, let me know, because I know a lot of people in that space who can help get you set up with enterprise resource planning software. Okay. But say your email and your website and your app and your CRM and your inventory and all that stuff, it doesn't communicate together. They don't talk to each other. And you have to basically have a redundancy. You put the information in here, and then somebody's got to transpose it, put it in over here, and then somebody's got to transpose and put order. There's a lot of wasted efficiency there, a lot of extra steps, and you're not getting the most bang for your buck. But people like Solway can actually take your software systems, independent systems that weren't designed to work together. And what you're saying is they can make them talk. You know, it would be custom software solution that they would build for you, so you don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel, and you can have more efficient um, use of your time and your employees' time. And that's part of making more of your marketing efforts, giving yourself uh, an advantage of taking the information that's here and putting it there automatically and having it communicate so that your employees, hello, Mike, welcome to the show, so that your employees don't have to do busy work. That was one of the things in sales that used to drive me nuts. I would fill out these quotes and then I would fill out these reports and then I would have to go ahead and update. And then when the time the order came, I would have to place an order form. It's like, well, I already have all this in the quote that I built, and I have all this in my Salesforce, right? That's the system that I use the most, right? Hello, Mariella. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you too. So we're talking about marketing questions today, Mariella. So if you have any marketing questions, feel free to ask. Mariella is a small business owner. She also is one of my good friends. She's with me on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn. So welcome to the show, everybody, wherever you're coming to me from. If you haven't already said hi, go ahead and say hi in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. It's always neat to see all the different places that people are watching from around the globe. I love it. Anyways, okay. So what were we talking about? So what's always talking about doing is giving you back some of your time. One of my other clients, he owns Brad Smith. In fact, he's going to be a guest on the show here coming up in the near future. Brad Smith is the owner of Stellar Insight, and he's an executive coach. He trains people in politics and CEOs of companies at C-suite level folks on how to, add a zero to their revenue or to get further with their political aspirations. That's what he does. He said, when I'm talking to these C-suite folks, it always comes down really to two things. It's cash flow and it's time management. And what Solway there is offering is the time management component to help you run your business better. So as I continue to grow at Bowman Digital Media, that is something that I'm going to be keeping in mind. I don't have the resources or frankly the need because I don't have the employee base, the labor force yet. But eventually I will need all my software to work together. And for those of you who are interested, CRM stuff. I've used Salesforce, I've used Goldmine, I've used now HubSpot. That's the one I'm currently using. And CRMs, if you have not taken advantage of CRMs are wonderful because you can not only animate some of the process, it helps you to keep everything straight, but you can also identify for marketing, you can identify trends. We're always looking for trends in marketing. What is working? What isn't working? How do we communicate? What's the response rate? All those things help us figure out what to do more and what to back off of. So as we create our marketing hypothesis, what is it that we are trying to accomplish in marketing so we can increase the amount of leads that are coming in our sales force can go after? Having a good CRM, using that data, maximizing that data is very, very helpful. All right. So Mariella's husband, Steve, is trying to add subscribers to his YouTube channel. How can I help him? Well, you just did in a sense. So part of, building up social media, there's a couple different ways that you can do it, but the best growth for social media is organic growth. So Steve is a musician. So if you want to help Steve, what you can do, you can search out, you can do it on YouTube, but you can also do it on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or any of these different platforms. And I'm a proponent of using the different platforms. Again, keep in mind the very first thing, and I think Marielle was late to the show, so she probably didn't hear us. You always want to keep in mind the audience. Who is it that Steve, who's his core demographic? Who's he trying to reach? Like young people, older people, somebody like me, kind of in the middle. college educated, still in school, business owner, doesn't, blue collar, doesn't. So all those different things. If you can figure that out, then it can help you figure out where they are, where they live. Now you're talking about social media followers. So that already helps give us a clue a little bit because, if they're not on social media, they're not going to follow Steve or anybody, right? So you can adjust this to yours. But Mario is asking about YouTube. Now, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, only followed by Google, which Google happens to own YouTube. So they own the number one and number two search engines in the world. It's large. Okay. But right off the bat, because I know Steve is a musician, so you're looking at people interested in music. But Steve also is a music teacher. So is he going after potential students, or is he going after people that he wants just to listen to his music? And why that matters is because of the content that he should be creating, right? If he's just putting out music videos, then he should be going after people that are consumers of his, who will just appreciate his music, his artistry. But if he's going to put out more and more of those how to drum and how to play the guitar and how to play the trombone and how to play the bass guitar, I think I named them all. I think he does 4. I think I got it right. Okay. So if he's going to be teaching, then we got to go after the people that, potential students. Now, that doesn't mean he can't do both. He can certainly do both. But the strategy for each would be different, right? So strategy A and strategy B for both groups. And again, as a business owner, you can do the same thing, okay? So what am I doing? Let's say we're going to talk about the students because it might be easier for this example. Okay, so students. Okay, where are students living? Well, they're not really living on Facebook, not most of them, right? Facebook has become for older people, for house moms, and for those of us Generation X and up, right? The younger kids pretty much have ditched Facebook to this point, okay? At least in mass numbers. So we don't necessarily want to spend a lot of effort on Facebook. So where are they? TikTok. TikTok's a good one. Instagram's another good one, okay? And YouTube. He's already on YouTube. So you can focus on those, okay? Now, creating content for TikTok is different than content for Instagram, is different than content for YouTube. So you've got to understand the platforms that you're on. And then when you create the content and you're making the posts, the number one thing that most people looking for followers, subscribers, connections, however you want to say it, because every platform seems to say it a little bit differently. But if you want them, look at what I've done. I have grown on every platform I'm on. I've grown on LinkedIn. I've grown on Facebook. I've grown on YouTube. I've grown on Twitter. I'm growing on Twitter right now. Growing on Instagram. Probably my fastest growth rate right now is on Instagram. Okay. How am I doing it? Well, part of it is I'm not just putting up content and then walking away. If somebody comments on a post, then I'm going to engage with them. Engagement is one of the easiest ways to add subscribers, to add followers. Don't just ignore folks. They're not your fans yet just because they hit the follow button, right? It just means they've shown some curiosity. They want to come back and check it out. But the more you engage with them, the more you develop this friendship, right? It's just like you and me, Mario. We're friends, but it didn't start that way, right? A couple of years, we've been hanging out now for a couple of years, and I've been to your house now, right? And you know all about what's going on with my daughter. I can tell you things that's going on in your life, and you can tell me things that's going on in my life because of social media and because of that engagement. But that engagement is what creates the ties that bond, and then you simply start asking for some help, right? So you're making posts that are interesting to the audience. When they comment, you're responding and creating a relationship. And then that last thing is asking for help. Like, hey, who do you know? Like, can you share this for me? Can you talk about this for me? When you see people who need, lessons, can you talk? Can you let them know about Steve? Right. And then the other part, and just a little self-serving, I guess, but I created some stuff for Steve, right? So created a logo, created a little flyer that he can use, and you can create more for free on websites like Canva. let me pull up Canva real quick in case people are not familiar with this, but I talk about Canva a lot. I love it because it's a free service. This is what I like about Canva. Canva doesn't cost any money. So if you're bootstrapping like I was, or you just want to put something together pretty simple, Canva is a nice tool. You can do all kinds of things on here now. You can create little videos, you can create GIFs, you can create social media posts. They have all kinds of templates. You don't have to pay somebody like me to design your files. Now that doesn't mean if you pay me, I can't give you something better and you don't have to waste your time, of course, right? But if you're trying to do this on a budget, Canva is a great way to do it. You can use the Canva free option and get a lot for it. Okay. So check this site out if you guys haven't. Now, what am I saying this for? Because you can create graphics and use them as posts, ask for people's help, but now they have something that they can share and send, right? You're giving them marketing assets. That's what we call them, digital assets that can be shared and distributed. Easy to send for somebody to send via email. They can send it as a text message. They can just share it as a direct message on social media, and they could actually share it as a post too if they want. So all of those things can be helpful. So when you have somebody that you want to support, you want to help, right? Create content for people on a platform, in this case, social media, because we're talking about social media, where others can gravitate to it. So look for, like, on Facebook, it's all about groups, right? Facebook is a group thing, right? So find a group, find lots of groups that have to do with, beginner music and aspiring musicians and those types of things, students, and start making posts with those interesting graphics. And then when people comment, make sure that you develop that relationship by responding back, right? Don't ignore people. Posts are conversation starters. So don't forget to have the conversation. Okay, great question. I hope I exhausted that for you a little bit, Mariella. So if you have a follow-up question, feel free to ask. I'm going to move on. In the post itself, I talked about a few different things, right? So I talked about, what did I talk about? Okay, what role social media plays in marketing? We've talked about that too a little bit, so I'm going to go to the next question here. How to build your website traffic? Oh yes, website traffic. Okay, if you're not familiar with Bowman Digital Media, let me share it here. If you're not familiar with my company, this is BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Okay, what do we do? People hire us to manage their business, LinkedIn marketing, really all their social media, but a lot of people start with the LinkedIn, and SEO to build website traffic. Now, phrase right here, SEO, it's an acronym. A lot of people hear it, but I'm going to assume that most of you don't know what that is. So I want to explain it. What it stands for is search engine optimization. Now, I just made some updates to my website and I created a page for each of the services. I actually haven't finished my video service page yet, but that will be coming. But I want to show you this one because this is so important to marketing. When you are marketing, what are you doing? You're trying to raise your brand awareness and you're trying to establish a know, like, and trust factor with your prospects and your clients, frankly, so that when they need whatever it is that you offer, they will come to you and give you an opportunity to earn their business. That's what we're doing in marketing. Now, why is SEO so important? SEO is important because search engine optimization, when they don't know you by name, right? They'll go to a place like Google or YouTube or any one of the other search engines. And they're going to type in, usually, let's say they wanted marketing services, but they don't know Bowman Digital Media. Okay. They're going to go over to Google and they're going to type in marketing services. And a lot of times people will put something like near me, or they'll put, in their state or in their city, something like that. That's usually what they're going to put. Okay. how will you, or how will Bowman Digital Media rank in that list that's going to come up? Because in that case, if you do marketing services near me, there's going to be literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not over a million results that come up in that list. So how does Bowman Digital Media go from being, on the last page or near the last page to being on the first page or being at the top of the list? How do we do that? How do we accomplish that? We accomplish that through search engine optimization. It is something that takes effort, and you have to know how it works, and then you have to put in the effort to do it. It's one of the services that we offer here. What is the offer? Okay. So SEO services, because you want to be at the top of the results when people are searching for what your company does in your local market. SEO helps reinforce what your company does to the search engines and provides the ammunition needed to get your company listing higher on the page. Please note, SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. Why? Because each month your score and your position, changes. Your position changes. So to keep your score and position high, you must continue to have the necessary work done on your website's behalf. You can do it, or somebody like Bowman Digital Media can do it for you. Okay. Therefore, we offer affordable monthly packages that you should budget for to stay competitive and increase your website traffic over the long haul. Now, for any of you that have a website, this is an important component to developing a complete and successful marketing strategy. That's why we offer it. You really can't have successful marketing for a website without SEO. If you're not doing SEO, you are being derelict to yourself as the business owner and to any employees that you hire, because you're not giving them the best shot to win. Now, somebody just threw a curveball at me and said, I'm looking for a job. I help people find jobs for free all around the world. Okay. I'm going to show you where. Come right here. Project Help You Grow. This is free job search help for you wherever you are. But here's the mistake a lot of people are making. They're coming right here, search for jobs. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that's not really any different than going into any other website that you've ever been on and searching for jobs. It's the same jobs. Okay. I'm just going to throw that out there. I have millions of job listings on my website. Yes, I do. But they're all the same jobs that you've seen on other websites. But here's what most of them don't have, or if they do, it's not free. Hit the blog, come here. Hit the podcast, come here. Hit Kirsty Bonner, come here. Come to one of these three tabs and consume that information and get free job search assistance first. What do I mean by that? Let me explain what I mean by free job search assistance. I'm just going to go to the blog, okay, because it's my favorite one. Why you should revise your resume before each job application is submitted. I have a whole article dedicated to that. I'm going to teach you why you need to do it, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that in this article. You read that, and then your strategy, if you apply what I teach you, will be better than it was before. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to have an account. You don't have to look at any ads. There's no ads on my website. There's nothing commercial on my website at all. Okay? You can go get this information for free right now, and it will make your job search strategy better. Okay. Have you been ghosted before? I'll teach you what it is and how to avoid being ghosted, again, for free right here. Are you older? Having trouble finding a job because you're in your 50s, your 60s, you're older than that. I teach people who are older how to use a strategy that will help them get more interviews. And that gives them a puncher's chance to earn the job. I'll teach you about that in that one. Okay. The long odds of landing a job. Did you know it's harder to find a job than it is to get accepted into Harvard or Yale right now? It's true. I'll teach you how to avoid it, how to get around it, cover letter strategy, all kinds of stuff, keywords, fractional work. I mean, the list goes on and on. The power of informational interviews, COVID strategies. There are over 50 articles on this website. They're all 100% free. Time management, how to win an interview, how to find a job in a foreign country, how to earn the interview and get around the ATS. What is the ATS? dealing with depression, how to thwart depression before it sets hold. Oh my goodness. It's all here for free. Avoiding scams, how to set up your resume. This was written by my friend Curtis Tompkins, who runs Job Ready Today. Okay. Now, don't like to read? I understand. A lot of people don't. Go to the podcast then. Watch the podcast. You know what the podcasts are? The podcast, Project Podcast, is where I interview recruiters and directors of HR and business owners and career service coaches. And I teach you, like this one, find a foreign job with Juliana Rabi, COVID advice with Tina, COVID advice with Michelle Trano, better mental mindset with Megan, overcome stress with my good friend Professor Pete. Okay, Foster Williams, Jared Weiss, Rob Deppert. The list goes on and on and on. You can watch all these videos. It's all free. So I'm looking for a job. Great. Free job search available for you right here. Project Help You Grow is my website. It's a philanthropy. That means it's free. And I do it. This help works around the globe. Okay. And then once you do all that, create yourself a candidate profile if you'd like to help increase your visibility on all of social media and Google. And then search for a job with confidence. Okay. That's what Project Help You is there for. And Project Help You Grow, again, it's free. Hello, Sylvester. Welcome to the show. Okay. Back to SEO. So building website traffic doesn't happen by accident. Okay. So SEO services will help. Now, it's not the only thing you're going to do. You're also going to use social media if you're smart. But if you're looking for a tune-up for your page, we can do that. What is this? This is the metadata and all the stuff that goes, the tags and all that stuff that goes to help identify what your website is about. And then we have monthly services where we help build backlinks. Okay, we have off-page service and we have on and off-page services. And then we also have a blog writing service where we write content like you see on Project Help You Grow. Why are there blogs? Let's get into it. What do blogs do? Let me show you. We have a blog here on Bowman Digital Media. And again, if you're looking for free marketing advice, visit my website here, Bowman Digital Media, and just read these blogs. Again, 100% free information, free advice for you. Okay? How digital marketing bespoke websites elevate small businesses. You can read these articles, common SEO terms that all beginners must know. Oh my gosh, I should click on that right now because we're talking about SEO, right? Let's do it. So you start looking at these things and you go, okay, what is it? Different types of backlinks, no follow links, do follow links, user generated content, sponsored links, partners tabs, internal and external links. These are terms that you should know if you're going to be doing your own SEO or you hire somebody who knows what all that means and does it for you. But either way, those things are very important, okay? And if you don't have money or you don't want to spend money to get the help, you can get free help here on my website, Bowman Digital Media, okay? Again, read the blog. And I have videos too. You can watch the videos. But all kinds of different topics here, right? All kinds of different topics you can read about. But why do we put blogs up? What is it about blogs for marketing that helps so much? Let me help you out. If you have a website and you're not putting up a blog, you're doing yourself a disservice. Why? Because the blogs are new content. The blogs help with what we call keyword terms. Okay. So if my website is about marketing, which it is, and I want to rank higher for marketing, which I do, the more content I put up, relevant content, new content. So my website has not been abandoned. It's a live website. It's still going. It's healthy, right? I'm putting up new pages. I'm building new links. Every time I put a blog up, I've got a new internal link on my website, okay? And I've got new content to support the fact that I'm an expert on this particular topic. And you can do the same thing. And you can create your geofences with it too by using the terms for the towns and the states and the country where your business does business, okay? Their indecency rate, I can't say the word indecency rate, okay? Goes up. Marketing, check. I probably use marketing 15 different times in every blog, right? But it's not the only keyword, right? I offer 6 services at Bowman Digital Media. You know what they are? Social media management, website development, graphics design. We do photography, videography, and SEO, search engine optimization services. All 6, we do them. I speak about those in my blogs all the time. Why? Because every time I do, I get an extra keyword in my tally. You understand? It's a tally. And if I have the word marketing on my website used relevantly more, then that's going to boost my marketing score in the search engine's eyes when they do what? When they index my website, which happens every 30 days. Okay. Your websites all get indexed every 30 days. All right. So that's a lot of marketing knowledge that I just dropped on you for SEO, but I'm going to keep moving. Again, if you are a business owner and you want to come on my show, all you have to do is let me know and I'll bring you on. But if you have a question, I don't care who you are. It can be about anything. You could even ask me about finding a job if you want, even though that's not what the show is about. That's fine. I know a lot of people know me for the job search stuff. Okay. But if you have a marketing question, like Mariella asked me how she can help Steve build his business or social media subscribers on YouTube, and Orono asked me how he knows what is the best strategy for his business. And I've tried to address both questions here on the show. So if you have a question, feel free to ask. The next topic that I want to talk about that I put in the post is identifying your target audience. Okay. So we've already gone through this a little bit with Orono, right? But the first clue to your target audience should be in who you've been successful with already, right? So if you're looking again at your invoices and going, okay, here's my stack of invoices, try to find patterns from the clients. So business owners or consumers, if they're consumers, maybe they live in apartments or maybe they live in homes, right? So try to find, maybe they're all in one area of a city. The more that you can kind of identify the patterns, that the things that they have in common, it gives you a clue on who to search for and create in the marketing world what is called an avatar. Okay, an avatar is a profile of your prospect. You're going to figure out who you already are working with successfully in the pattern that comes from that to develop an avatar, your prospect. Now, once you have that identified, the more accurate it is, the better. The easier it becomes to develop a marketing campaign and where you should spend your effort. Emails, phone calls, in-person visits, right? So maybe I need to hire a sales force. Maybe they're all on social media and an outside sales team isn't needed at all. And that breaks my heart as somebody who made their living for 20 plus years, doing business to business sales, right? But it is true. Not every business needs outside sales team anymore. So how are you going to find them? Are they social media? Is it traditional print? Is it traditional media like advertising, an advertising budget for the radio, for TV, for billboards and things like that? Maybe you need to wrap your vehicle and drive it around. Maybe you just want to hire a guy with a sign and they can stand outside on a busy street and shake it, right? Maybe it's in the form of swag, giving stuff away. Like if you notice, I've got, Bowman Digital Media, like on all kinds of things. I wear it on my hat. I wear it on my shirt. I wear it on my jacket. I don't have a tattoo of Bowman Digital Media, but, maybe one day. But you know what I mean? I wear my logo a lot. Why? Because it's raising the visibility of my brand. That's why. And I didn't spend, and a lot of people do, I didn't spend any money marketing my company, paid advertisement. I didn't put up LinkedIn ads. I didn't put up Google ads. I didn't put up Facebook ads. I didn't go out there and buy, radio spots. I didn't have anything on TV. You certainly aren't going to see me on the Super Bowl, at halftime. You know what I mean? So how do you build your brand? Well, I used what I call social selling. So I want to talk about social selling a little bit. What is social selling? So one mistake that people make with social media is they go full force on these DMs, direct messages, and they're like emails, but they come to you via social media. Your inbox gets full of just people trying to sell you everything you could think of, right? And it's awful because most of these people, you don't even know them. You have no relationship with them. You don't trust them at all. And they're asking you to, give you an appointment. Just spend 30 minutes with me. Like if you did that, I don't know about you, but if I did that for every single person that reached out to me and said, "Hey, can I have 30 minutes of your time?" I would not have time to do anything else. In fact, I wouldn't even be able to get them all in a day. So I say no. In fact, I don't even respond to most of them. Okay, I just don't. I just they didn't really reach out to me as a robot, anyways. So they have automated. They've got these automated systems, which frankly you've got to be careful because platforms like LinkedIn, that's against the rules. So you don't even want to do that. You don't want to break your rules, right? So you got to follow the rules, but they'll send you these messages and they're going to ask you to buy something or visit their website or support them or have a meeting with them. And it's like, no, dude, I don't know you. I've got no reason to even respond to tell you no. I'm just going to ignore it, and that's what I do with them, right? So if you're sending me that junk, I guess if it makes you feel like you've done something for the day, but you haven't accomplished anything when you send it to me because I ignore them all. All right. So instead, I do something called social media or social selling. Just take the word media out. Social selling, but it's social media selling. How does that work, Ira? Here's how it works. I create posts. You don't want to do it like nothing but this because it actually will irritate people too. So you've got to have like a blend. So what you'll notice if you're paying attention to Ira's posts, right? Just pay attention to mine. About 20% of the time, I'll put up a post that's about like, and I'm going to do it later today, so you can see how I do it. I created this video on YouTube for a client. I've got ground shots via my camera equipment, and then I've got drone shots via my equipment. That I shot all the video a couple weeks ago when I was in Indiana for the 3PL business, right? And then the last couple weeks I've been processing the videos, editing the videos down to the clips, getting them just the way I want them. And then I put together this 3-minute video, which is like a virtual tour of a 3PL, which is a logistics company, shipping, warehousing services, order fulfillment. So I'm going to show that service off. Why? Because more of my clients might need that. And I want to obviously advertise the fact that I can do it. So it's called social selling because I'm going to make a post that demonstrates my capabilities in what I think is a cool presentation that will entertain people. And I'll make a post about that. Now I'm not sending that to people's inboxes. I'm not emailing them with it. I'm not DMing them with it. I'm going to put up a post about it. And hopefully what will happen is some of the people who see it will go, you know what, that's really cool. And they'll want to share it with other folks who maybe might need my service too. So that's a form of advertising without having to pay for advertising. And that's why we develop our social media channels. The more people you have in your social media, the more people have an opportunity to see it and like it and share it and comment on it. Now, every single person who comments on that, I will definitely respond to. That's the reason why I do the other 80% of what I do on social media. Is to build up my networking connections, to build up my referral base so that when I do a social selling post that has an opportunity to go large. Many people miss it because they don't want to do the other 80% of the work. They don't understand how that helps them. How does connecting with strangers help me? How does developing relationships with people who can never buy from me help me? They just don't understand. But I'm telling you, 18 months, I haven't had to spend a single penny on advertising because of social selling. But I have to do a lot of social media work to build that up. But all my clients benefit from it. So when I do that 80% of the work, I'm not the only person who benefits. It's me and all of my clients. And so it's really not a waste of my time when you look at it that way. But if you were just to look at one of my posts, you go, why is Ira doing that? You know what I mean? And so right now I'm like doing the magician thing, but I'm telling you behind the scenes why I do it and how I do it. There's a purpose for all of it, right? And the purpose is to build rapport, to build relationships, to grow visibility so they know who I am, to build likability so they like me, and then to build trust up so that when I post something and I make a definitive statement about a product or service, they know they can trust what I'm saying and they can take that for what it's worth. right? I'm not trying to to deceive anybody with what I'm doing. So, I'm not a snake oil salesman. I stand behind every single company that I represent. That's why I do a consultation with them, and I actually turn a lot of people away. A lot of people have tried to hire Bowman Digital Media. The Bowman Digital Media said, "Yeah, it's just not a good fit," right? And sometimes it's because of the industry that they're in, and sometimes it's because of the personality of the person that I'm talking to, and sometimes it's just because I'm not in a position to help them accomplish their professional goals, and I would rather them find another vendor who can do exactly what it is that they need to do or the way that they need to do it, right? So, anyways, okay. Social selling is the way that I promote the products without email spam and without direct message spam. So that's the importance of social selling, but it doesn't work if you don't have a social media presence. So if you're looking to do social selling, but you don't have a social media presence, that's where you would hire someone, a vendor that has one who can help you. Okay. So the question, I think the final question is, yeah, when do you do it yourself and when do you source? Okay. As we've got 10 minutes left in the show here. Um, my thought on this is if you're good at something, if you enjoy something, and you can do it efficiently, then you can go ahead and do it. And by you, I mean you or someone in your firm, right? Someone in your company. If you're an accountant, and I'm not, the very first thing that I outsourced at Bowman Digital Media was my accounting, just in full disclosure, right? So I could probably do most of it on my own, especially because I was bootstrapping, but I am not going to be in charge of the books because I don't want to mess it all up and I don't want to owe the IRS and I don't want to go to jail or none of that stuff, right? So I paid for an accountant right away. Now, why did I do that? I'm not good at it. I could probably learn. I'd like to think that I can learn. I can put my mind to learning stuff, but it would have taken me so much time and caused me so much stress that I said my accounting services I'm going to entrust to a professional so that I can focus on what I do best. And that's really the premise of Bowman Digital Media for people in the digital marketing, and website traffic spaces. You might be a really smart engineer, or maybe you're, like I said, I work with accountants and lawyers and all kinds of folks in the service based industry. But you might struggle with, and like I'm thinking of my friend who runs Thermoco. In fact, you know what? I'm going to pull up her website. In fact, let me show you something. Watch this. Okay. So Bowman Digital Media, like I said, I've just totally revamped my website with these service pages. So we build websites. It's one of the things we do. Okay. So I've given some samples. Here's the price. We charge $2,000 to build a website. But one of the websites that I built out was Thermoco. My friend Angela, who I met through WBS Rocks, okay, which is Sam Gupta and friends. All right. I met her there. She is a PMP. She's a project management professional. She's helping people. It's taking a second, sorry, just because I'm going live here. But anyways, I built this website for her. Now, she helps people all the time. She's good at adding the personal touch to project management, contract management, and supplier management. She's from Houston, Texas. Okay, this is her business. I built this website for her. It's not that she's dumb, and she probably could have watched enough videos and done the research and all that stuff. And by the way, I did create this web logo for her too, which I'm really proud of that. I think it came out really well, and so does she. So I appreciate the compliments and the feedback she's given me. But anyways, the point of this was she probably could have given enough time and effort, done it herself. But I know when I built this website for her, she was in a rush. I created this logo for her uh, within an hour of her and I talking, and I had our website launched within 4 days of her hiring me. She had a deadline because she was doing a podcast and she wanted to house and announce that podcast on her website. She had a deadline that was pretty tight, but I got her website developed. I built it and had it functional in, I think it was 3 days actually. But anyways, She could have probably, like I said, done it herself. But the fact is, she didn't have to because she paid my fee and I got it for her. And, now you can come and you can learn all about her and what she does here, right? Every one of these, like, it's really cool. But she didn't have to do it so that she could focus on helping her clients with, supplier management, contract management, program management needs. That's what she does. She could have taken the time to figure this out. It would have been a headache. It wouldn't have been done in 3 days. There's no doubt about it. It probably wouldn't look nearly as nice. She wouldn't have the logo developed the way she did, all those things. Why is that important? Because she didn't get in business to learn how to build a website and to run a website. She got in business to help people with their project management needs, right? So you can figure out what it is that you should source by doing a couple things. Consider, how fast can I do it? How much stress will it cause me? Will I take any pleasure in this? If the answer to that is high stress, high cost, long time, won't enjoy it, my advice is to source it. Okay. Or hire somebody. If you're going to have that type of work all the time, hire somebody who enjoys doing that stuff and add them to your staff so they can do it for you. Right. Because what a lot of you think about the money that you're saving by do it yourself, but you forget about the opportunity cost of what you could have earned and what you could have been doing instead of taking the time to learn how to do it yourself. DIY is great in some ways and awful in other ways. It's great because if you truly don't have any money, but you have the free time, you can do it. But if you're really good, like I'm good at designing graphics and I'm good at creating websites and I'm good at taking photos and things like that, but I'm really bad at accounting. You know what I mean? So if I was to try to do my books myself, could I do it? Yeah, I took accounting classes at San Jose State as part of my business degree. Okay. I've taken the classes. I mean, I kind of understand, but I hate it and I'm not good at it. So if I was doing that, my quality of life would be bad. I would be frustrated and I wouldn't have time to do the things that I'm good at. And so, when you're considering a sourcing partner, that's what it's about. Uh, You don't have to do everything. You didn't get in business to do everything, to be HR and to be, your accountant and to be an attorney and to be the sales rep and the customer service rep and all those things. I mean, there's so many different functions in a business. Figure out the things that you're really good at. Do those. The things that you can't easily source or the things that, take away from why you got into business in the first place. For me, I got in business to help people, help small business owners increase their visibility and drive traffic. Everything I do is designed to help them generate more sales. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoyed it when I was in the print business, and I enjoy it now from the marketing side in the digital media space. I'm just trying to help people sell more. And how do you do that? You got to increase their visibility, right? That's why I always enjoy doing the large building wraps and the vehicle wraps because that was the stuff people were going to see the most. So if you consider how people will find you and you consider who it is that you want to find you, the answer to your marketing needs, the answer to what to invest in, the answer to should I do it or should I pay someone else to do it for me? All those become easier to spot. Don't forget to identify your target market because your target market really determines a lot of the rest. And it's a step that most people have skipped. They've just made some assumptions. But how true are your assumptions? Again, if you've been in business for a little bit or longer, it's easy because the clue is in your client base. Just do a more thorough exam of who you're currently doing business with. And some of the assumptions that you've made, they may have been faulty, but you can straighten it out. And then you can build a campaign that works better for you and your business moving forward. All right. My name is Ira Bowman. This has been Marketing Mondays. Next week, I do plan on having a guest with me. Hang on a second, and I will tell you who it is. All right. Next week, I have Brad Smith joining me. So next week, we're going to have the owner of Stellar Insight. He is a business coach. He works with executives and he works with politicians, helping them to develop their revenue and get more, increase their ROI. So I look forward to having him on the show. We're going to talk about his business. We're going to talk about marketing challenges that he faces and how we address them. Because in full disclosure, he's a client of mine. So we'll talk about all that. If you have marketing questions, you're always free to ask them right here on the show. The show happens every Monday, starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can time adjust for wherever you are in the world. And I do invite other small business owners on the show. So if you would like to join me as a guest, we can talk about your business. It'd be a nice little commercial for you. But also, we can talk about your marketing challenges and how you address them. And you can get some tips and hopefully increase your exposure at the same time. It'll be a win-win for both of us. So if you're interested in that, joining me as a guest on the show, reach out to me. Send me a direct message. Let me know you're interested in being a guest on Marketing Mondays, and we'll get you on the schedule. Until next time, my friends, I hope everybody has a wonderful Monday. I'll see you next week. BowmanDigitalMedia.com.